Hello everyone, welcome to our Law Excellence's unique initiative, Current Affairs for Beginners. First, let us see answers for the questions from our previous video. The first question is, consider the following statements. Capital adequacy ratio is the amount that banks have to maintain in the form of their own funds to offset any loss that banks incur if the account holder fails to repay the dues. This statement is correct. Yesterday we have seen that capital adequacy ratio is also known as capital to risk weighted assets ratio. So we need the amount of capital to overcome these risk weighted assets. And the next statement is capital adequacy ratio is decided by each individual bank. This statement is incorrect because it is decided by the central bank, that is Reserve Bank of India, not by an individual bank. So as only one is correct, the answer here is A. The next question is, which of the following statements correctly describes the meaning of angel tax? It is a 30% tax that is levied on the fundings that were received by startups from an external investor. We have seen this in our yesterday's video. So the statement here C is correct. And these are the three main questions for today. You can get these questions in our notes also. You can write answers for these questions in our www.CivilsPrep.com website. Now let's start our today's session. These are all the topics that we are going to cover in our today's video. The first article is EECOM Clarification adds to confusion. This article comes under GS paper 3 under the topic of economy. Yesterday we have seen the background about this e-commerce. That means there were two types of marketing. One is marketplace model and the other one is inventory model. In the marketplace model, what it happened? There will be a e-commerce platform where there will be the sellers and buyers. Using this platform, the sellers will sell their goods to the buyers. The next one is inventory based model. Here, this e-commerce platform itself will have an inventory of goods. So it will only sell to the customers. So now we are going to see another concept known as private label goods today. Private label goods in the sense, these private label products were also known as private brand or white label. Private label is also known as white label or a private brand. This is a product that is produced by one company, that is manufactured by one company, but it is packaged and sold. That means the marketing was done by another company and the labeling for this product will be under the name of this marketed company which has packaged it and it has sold. So this manufacturer's name will not be there here. We can see the examples of Spencer's, supermarkets. In supermarkets, we will have branded items also. For example, if we take MTR Masala, all these. But let us take a supermarket known as More Supermarket. In that supermarket, we will get different brands. Along with the different brands, the same item will be available in this More Supermarket under the label of More Product. So here what happened is, this supermarket is a retailer. It will have a contract with a manufacturer to manufacture the same product, but the labeling, this will go out under the name of this supermarket. And the important thing here is, these products prices will be less than the nationally recognized branded goods. This model has few advantages. Because of this, we know that these branded things are expensive, but similar products were available under a different name at a cost lesser than the branded item. That is one advantage. And there will be overproduction also. because if only branded goods were available, only they will be produced. But this overproduction will also be reduced. So there will be decrease in the cost, making these goods cost effective. And these products will increase competition in the market. So these are like competing with these branded goods, which will result in decrease in the prices of the goods. And there were also some disadvantages here. Disadvantage in the sense, this supermarket has given a contract to a manufacturer. So it is relying on this manufacturer for the product's quality. So if there is no proper coordination between them, then the quality of that product will be at stake. And one more thing here is loyalty. To gain this loyalty among the customers is not that easy for these private labeled goods, because people in generally prefer these branded goods because they feel that they are of superior quality. So gaining that loyalty among the customers is not that easy for the private label goods. The next article is a global slowdown. This article comes under GS paper 3 under the topic of economy. From this article, we are going to see about an index known as PMI. This PMI stands for Purchasing Managers Index. This index is an indicator. It indicates the business activity in both manufacturing sector and service sectors. So how this index will be measured is, it will be measured based on a survey, and this survey will be in the form of questionnaire. Questions will be posed to the respondents by giving some industrial variables, and the respondents will be asked what are the changes they have seen in these variables in their perception from the past month. This index will be released at the start of the month. It will be released every month. In India, this data is published by a Japanese firm known as Nikkei. But this index will be compiled and constructed by Market Economics. A manufacturing PMI and a services PMI will be prepared separately, and this will be published. Both Nikkei and Market Economics websites will say that PMI data are based on monthly surveys of some selected companies in the country. So now if we see what is the purpose of this index means, this index is an indicator of economic health and investor sentiments about the manufacturing sector and also service sector. And this data will have 3 scores. If this index is 50, that means the economic position is in neutral. If it is above 50, that means there is improvement. If it is below 50, there is some economic contraction. And we said that this questionnaire will be based on some variables. And what are those parameters? There are 5 parameters to measure this purchasing managers index. One is new orders, one is output, employment, suppliers delivery, and stock of purchases. These are the 5 variables based on which this index will be compiled for the manufacturing sector. So the whole purpose of this index is to indicate some degree of confidence level in the manufacturing based companies, and it is a market sentiment tracker that compares what is the improvement or if there is any deterioration with the current month, and by comparing the present month with the previous month. But in some of our previous videos, we have seen about another index known as Index of Industrial Production. What is the difference between this Purchasing Managers Index and Index of Industrial Production. This index will measure what is the output, actual production output across the industrial sector, whereas this is done only for the selected companies. And one more thing is, here this is a comparison with the previous year. For example, if the index of industrial production for December month of 2018, this will be compared with what is the output in December month of 2017. Whereas for this Purchasing Managers Index, this will be a monthly comparison. So if January's PMI will be compared with December's PMI of 2018, this is 2019. Though these both are published monthly, their comparisons were different. And this IIP is released by the Central Statistics Office of Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, whereas this is released by this Japanese firm Nikkei and Market Economics. The next article is Data Protection Law has got finalized. This article comes under GS paper 2 under the topic of governance. From this article, now we are going to see about this. What is this data protection? We should know about a concept known as data localization. Data localization is a new trend in the internet world where there is a borderless flow of information. In recent years, we can see the countries instructing companies to keep the critical data about the company's consumers that has to be stored and processed within the domestic territories. And most data protection legislations are aimed to give protection to the privacy of individuals' data. Now, if we see the legislation in India, the move towards this data protection in India has become accelerated due to the recommendations of an expert group on data protection. Nothing but protecting the data of our citizens, headed by a committee known as Justice B.N. Sri Krishna Committee. This committee has recommended about this data protection in India. In its provisions, it said that the data of the Indian citizens in the online platforms has to be stored within India. So this concept, it requires the firms like Amazon, WhatsApp, Facebook, they should keep the consumer information in their servers that were located in India only. And the recommendations of this committee has also incorporated that the government will have access to the data that is stored in India for national security and public policy objectives that were related to privacy of the citizens. The next article is RBI limits customers' liability in fraudulent PPI transactions. This article also comes under GS paper 3 under the topic of economy. From this article, now we are going to see about this PPI. What is this PPI transactions? Prepaid payment instruments. What are these instruments? These are the payment instruments which will facilitate transactions like purchasing goods and services and also transfer of funds against the value that is stored in this instrument. Value stored in these instruments in the sense it is the value that will be paid by the holders. Let us say this Mr. A has this payment instrument. So to purchase a certain good, he has to pay value of this good through this payment instrument. So to purchase a certain good, the holder of this payment instrument should pay the value of that good through this instrument, through the bank account. What are these instruments? If we see some examples like smart cards, magnetic stripe cards, our ATM cards, internet accounts, internet wallets or digital wallets, mobile accounts, Paytm, all these, they will come under prepaid payment instruments. We can access any of these instruments for prepaid amount. This sector is regulated by the Reserve Bank of India as per RBI regulations. So, to put it simply, these prepaid payment instruments are the instruments that will facilitate purchase of goods and services against the value that is stored on the instruments. Value stored on them will be paid by the holder using a medium, that is in the form of cash or debit card or credit card. Generally, these are issued in the form of smart cards, mobile wallets, internet wallets, all these. And these PPI instruments were classified into three types. One is closed system payment instruments, other one is semi-closed, and another one is open payment instruments. First, let us see what is meant by this closed system payment instruments. Closed system payment instruments. These kind of instruments will be issued by businesses or organizations for buying their own products or services only. Goods or services only. Only that companies. For example, if we go to a supermarket, let us take Reliance Fresh. This Reliance Fresh, they will offer their membership cards, and we can use this card only to buy the products from Reliance Fresh. And these instruments, they do not permit any cash withdrawal. Another example is Delhi Metro prepaid card. We can use this card only in metros, not in any other place. Next, the next one is semi-closed payment system instruments, prepaid payment system instruments. So, these instruments are redeemable. That means they can be used at a group of clearly identified stores. Not only in one particular store, but in a group of stores who will enter into contract with this payment instrument, whoever is issuing, to accept that as a payment instrument. And these cards also do not pay, they will not permit cash withdrawal. Let us see this with an example. For example, let us say that now we are buying books from Amazon. We can buy the book from this Amazon in the form of cash, or we can use our debit card or credit card to pay this Amazon. Now, this Amazon is even allowing this virtual money, which is known as Bitcoin, to pay for the goods that we brought from Amazon. And there are some other companies like Amazon who were accepting this Bitcoin as a payment instrument. Let us clearly understand this with another example. Let us take these Sodexo cards. These cards can be used at some designated stores only. In this card, there will be a list of stores where this payment instrument can be used to purchase goods from these list of stores. And the last one is open system payment instruments. Here comes our debit cards and credit cards. These can be used for purchasing goods and services, and they also provide the option of withdrawal of cash from ATMs. The next article is Open Defecation Continues Unabated. This article comes under GS Paper 2 under the topic of governance, and from this article now we are going to see about Swachh Bharat, which is a sanitation program by the Indian government. It is the largest sanitation program by the Indian government, and this sanitation program has two missions. One is Swachh Bharat Mission in rural areas and the other one is in urban areas. In rural areas, it is under the purview of Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation, whereas in the urban mission, it comes under the Ministry of Urban Development. Here in this article, we can see that there is a recent analysis was done. What is the impact of this mission on people? Under the objectives, key objectives of this program, one objective is to make people aware of healthy sanitation practices by bringing in behavioral changes in people. But here this analysis says that this didn't bring any behavioral change in people. There is also another objective is to eradicate the system of open defecation in India and to convert the insanitary toilets into pore flush toilets. So this article says that though the construction of toilets has increased, there is no behavioral change in the people. Though people were having toilets in their houses, they are open defecating. So the article says that this objective was not achieved under this program. The next article is PNB case. ED attaches Thailand-based factory. This article comes under GS paper 3 under the topic of economy, and also it comes under GS paper 3 under the topic of internal security. From this article, we are going to see about two terms. One is fugitive. What is this fugitive? Here there is a term known as fugitive economic offender. It is any individual against whom arrest warrant is issued for committing an economic offence, and that person has left the country, and if he is refusing to return to India to face the charges, that is the criminal prosecution against that person will be considered as fugitive economic offender, and that economic offence should be of the value above 100 crores. And the next one what we are going to see from this article is letters of undertaking. What is this LOU, letters of undertaking? It is a bank guarantee. It is a guarantee issued by the bank under which a bank will allow its customer to raise money from another Indian bank's foreign branch in the form of short-term credit. For example, let us say there is a Punjab National Bank, and let us take another bank known as Axis. This Axis has a foreign branch in another foreign country. So now this Punjab National Bank has a customer who is importing some goods from this foreign country where this Axis had its branch. Then to purchase these goods, this customer of Punjab National Bank has to pay this exporter of this foreign country in foreign currency. So what this bank will do is this importer will approach this Punjab National Bank to arrange for a guarantee in the form of letter of undertaking for short-term loans from the foreign branches of Indian banks to pay to his supplier in foreign currency. So we can say that this loan will be used to make payment to the customers' offshore suppliers in foreign currency. This overseas bank will usually lend to the importer based on the letter of undertaking that is issued by the importer's bank. That is, the Punjab National Bank should issue a guarantee in the form of letter of undertaking to lend to its customer in foreign currency to repay the customer's offshore suppliers. Now let's see our prelims questions. The first question is related to prepaid payment instruments, and the other one is how a purchasing managers index is different from index of industrial production. Try to answer these questions and post your answers in the comment box. In our next video, we'll see a detailed explanation for these questions. And this is our Law Excellence website where you can access the notes for this video and also various other videos. And this is our official Telegram channel where you can access all the material of Law Excellence. Thank you.